The mist over the Tsushima Strait doesn't just obscure the horizon, it seems to swallow time itself. To understand the legend of the ghost ship, we have to look at the intersection of cold science and human storytelling through the story of the Hizanzaki, a vessel born from a very real phenomenon.
In 1926, a young fisherman named Hiroshi froze at his oars as an iron-hulled steamer drifted out of the fog. It bore no flag, and on its deck, dark figures stood motionless while a brass bell tolled a rhythmic, chilling beat. By the time Hiroshi reached the spot, the sea was empty. Exactly 50 years later, in 1976, a container ship captain reported an identical sighting, the same archaic steamer and the same ghostly bell. This legend persists because the Tsushima Strait is a historical choke point, a narrow gateway between the Sea of Japan and the East China Sea. Because these shipping lanes are so consistently crowded, the ghosts, often the echoes of the strait's dense past, from 1905 warships to lost merchant vessels. The 50-year pattern isn't supernatural, it's a result of human memory gaps. As generations pass, every 25 to 30 years, the first-hand witnesses disappear, allowing the story to become a new legend for a fresh pair of eyes to project their fear onto a trick of the light. The mystery of the bell Hiroshi heard is explained by the science of temperature inversion. During the day, the sun heats the air near the water, causing sound waves to travel upward and dissipate. But at night, the air near the water cools rapidly while a layer of warmer air sits above it. This warm layer acts like a ceiling, refracting or bending sound waves back down toward the surface. The sound becomes trapped in a duct between the warm air and the cold water, allowing a ship's bell from 20 miles away to sound as if it is right behind you. This auditory trickery is joined by a visual one, the Fata Morgana, a complex superior mirage. Imagine a sailor looking at the horizon and seeing a massive freighter glowing and hovering hundreds of feet in the air. This happens when cold currents chill the air touching the water while warm air rests on top, creating a literal lens in the sky. When light from a distant ship travels toward a sailor, it hits this boundary and curves downward toward the denser cold air. Since the human eye assumes light travels in a straight line, the ship appears to be up there, high above its actual position. Because these air layers are often turbulent, the image stretches and flips, turning a standard cargo ship into a towering, shimmering phantom. The ghost ship persists because the human brain is a pattern-matching machine. When a sailor sees a distorted, floating shape and simultaneously hears a crystal-clear chime from miles away, their brain searches for a story. They remember the 50-year legend, and a scientific anomaly of atmospheric optics becomes a ghost. The resolution isn't an exorcism, it's the realization that the setting is a maritime bottleneck, the sound is refraction ducting, and the vision is a mirage fueled by the gaps in human memory. Imagine a sailor standing on the deck of a trawler in the dead of night. The water is glass calm, and the air is strangely warm against his face, even though the sea beneath him is freezing. He looks toward the horizon and sees something that defies logic. A massive freighter, glowing faintly, hovering several hundred feet in the air above the waterline. This isn't a hallucination or a haunting. It is a Fata Morgana, the most complex and deceptive form of superior mirage. This phenomenon occurs because of a specific atmospheric condition called a thermal inversion. Normally, air gets colder as you go higher up. However, in the Tsushima Strait, cold currents can chill the air directly touching the water while a layer of significantly warmer air rests on top of it. This creates a literal lens in the sky. When light hits this boundary between the dense cold air and the less dense warm air, it doesn't travel in a straight line. Instead, it curves. As the light from a distant real ship travels toward the sailor, it bends downward toward the denser cold air. To the sailor's eyes, which always assume light travels in a straight line, the ship appears to be coming from up there, high above its actual position. Because the air layers are often turbulent or wavy, The image doesn't stay still. It stretches, compresses, and flips upside down, making a standard The political problem is that the head of this problem resulted in many regions of life. This visual trickery works in perfect tandem with the acoustic ducting that carries the sound of bells across the water. The sailor sees a distorted, floating shape and simultaneously hears a crystal-clear chime from a vessel miles away. His brain, unable to process two separate scientific anomalies at once, merges them into a single terrifying memory. Because these specific weather conditions, dead calm water and sharp temperature shifts, tend to recur in cycles, the ghost appears to return at regular intervals, cementing its place in maritime lore as a phantom that refuses to stay in the past. To truly understand why 1926 became the flashpoint for this legend, we have to look at the scars left on the Tsushima Strait. In the decades leading up to that first sighting, these waters saw one of the most concentrated naval disasters in history, the Battle of Tsushima in 1905. Within just 2 days, over 4,000 men and dozens of massive iron warships were swallowed by the strait. By 1926, the physical wreckage was hidden beneath the waves, but the cultural trauma was still fresh. For the fishermen of that era, the sea wasn't just water, it was a graveyard of modern iron monsters. When the first 50-year cycle hit, the survivors of the Great War era were reaching old age. Their stories of the iron steamers, vessels that had replaced traditional wooden junks almost overnight, became the ghosts that the younger generation, like Hiroshi, expected to see. The first event was just a mirage. It was the psychological echo of a world that had modernized so fast it left its own history behind. The mystery of the ghost ship of Tsushima reminds us that the world is often stranger than fiction, but rarely as supernatural as we fear. When we pull back the curtain of the mist, we find a beautiful harmony between the Earth's atmosphere and the human mind. The fear of the phantom fades the moment we realize the sea is simply playing a record of its own history through the science of light and sound. There is a profound sense of peace in knowing that the figures on deck aren't omens of doom, but rather a testament to how our planet can preserve images and echoes across vast distances. The lesson to take away, the greatest lesson of the Tsushima Strait, is perspective. Just as the sailor sees a ship in the sky because light is bending, we often see ghosts in our own lives, problems or patterns that seem impossible, simply because we are looking at them through a distorted lens. When things seem haunting or repetitive, stop and look for the temperature inversion, the hidden force that might be bending your reality.
Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and share this video with someone who loves a good scare. Every tap and share helps us bring ye more terrifying true stories, disturbing encounters, and chillin' mysteries. Tales designed to keep ye up at night. This is Darkhour Diaries, where your nightmares find a voice. Arr!